Back in the garage today. Back in the garage today. Get in the garage. Back in the garage today. What's going on, guys? Back in the garage today, getting ready to change the gear oil on Noah's 2019 KTM 85SX. If I'm being honest, it's well past due. Haven't changed it since we got it. I'd probably estimate it's got, well, more than the break-in hours on it, so I'm not expecting this oil to look great. Later today, I'm probably going to install a new jet kit for it I just got, but that's going to have to wait because I've got my 250 sitting here and I want to go get some riding in on it. So once the sun goes down, I'll get back in the garage again, but let's get to work on the gear oil change right now. So the first thing we need to do typically is put this thing up on a bike stand because we want it level. So you may be wondering why I'm using the triangle stand, and that's because I've got his bike outfitted with a skid plate. And while I could do it with the skid plate on there, I'm just gonna get gear oil all over the skid plate. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the skid plate off first, then we'll put it up on a bike stand and get to work. If you couldn't tell from that fast forward sequence, getting the skid plate off is a way bigger pain in the butt than it should be, but it's off now so we can move on to popping this thing up on the bike stand. So we're over on the right-hand side of the bike. You've noticed, this is just a tip of mine. I like to cheat the bike over on the bike stand a little bit. This is the drain bolt we're gonna be pulling out, so if we've got it hanging over a little bit, less chance of making such a mess. Two, the engine should be up at operating temperature. I didn't bring mine up to operating temperature today, but it will help the oil come out a little bit easier. Go ahead and loosen up the fill cap up here and remove it. Then we're going to take a 13mm wrench down here on the drain bolt. I'm going to grab a funnel and a pan so we can catch all the oil coming out. It only holds about a half a liter, just a little over half a quart, so it's not going to be much. It doesn't look quite as bad as I thought it would. While we're waiting on the gear oil to drain out, we want to go ahead and take a look at the plug. It is magnetic. You notice there are some metal shavings on there. This is the break-in period. That's totally normal, so don't freak out if you see that. But to clean this off before you put it back on. Also, there should have been a copper washer, which I think fell down in my pan. So we'll either flip it and reuse it, or we're going to use a brand new one. And if we look down in the funnel, you can see the copper washer. And what I'm talking about flipping is, this is a crush washer. Generally, you can use them twice. You just need to flip it over so it'll re-crush. Otherwise, you can use a brand new one. So if you're gonna be working on your own bikes, I recommend picking up like one of these kits. They're great. They come with a bunch of different sizes. These are the ones you're gonna use over and over. So we're just gonna use a new one on this bike. So with a new copper washer installed, we're gonna put this back in. It calls for torquing it down to 20 Newton meters. I don't feel like moving the brake lever out of the way, so we're just gonna call it tight. Just make sure if you're not gonna use the torque wrench that you do get the crush washer to actually crush, and then you should be good. Check that out. We don't have anything spilled anywhere on the frame. That'll probably never happen again. So next thing we want to do is get a half a liter of gear oil measured out. We're going to fill in up here. I'm going to show you what I use. So ever since Noah's been on a 65, I've been using this Maxima 75 weight. It's worked great. We're going to use the same thing in the 85. As you can see here, I've got exactly 500 milliliters of gear oil measured out. I'm going to grab a funnel. We're going to dump it in here, and then we're almost done. Actually, you know what? I'm going to chance things and just pour it in directly from this container. And then we just want to put our fill cap back on. So the only thing you really have left to do is you want to start the motorcycle, let it run a little bit. It would be great to run it up and down your driveway or whatever. Then put it back on this bike stand, and then this plug right here, this screw, you're going to take it out. If none of the oil's leaking out, great, but you want to be able to look in there and make sure the oil level is up to this line or the bottom of the screw hole. If it's pouring out or dripping out, let it drip out. It means you got a little too much in there. If it's not, and you can tell it's not up to that line, come back up here, pop this back off, and put just enough oil in to get it up to that line, and then you're good to go. All right, guys, so pretty simple process to change the gear oil on one of these bikes. The only thing I really have left to do, aside from the couple of steps I just went over, is put the skid plate back on the bike, which I'll do in just a minute. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, consider hitting that subscribe button, because if you like motorcycles, well, this is the place to be. If you have any questions about the gear oil change we did on the bike today, obviously let me know those down in the comment section below. I'll do my best to answer them. And as always, I'll talk to you again soon.